So Deep Silver reached out to me last week to grant me early access for Dead Island 2's newest House DLC, and I'm really excited to share my first impressions of my experience with you today.
This video is indeed sponsored by PlayOn.
However, I only accepted this on the terms that they would allow me full creative freedom to do exactly how I pleased with it, and they obliged. And with that said, my friends, let's begin, shall we?
Here we go.
This DLC is not for everyone, okay? It's going to be hit with a lot of mixed reactions, in large part to its runtime that we will touch on in the later half of this video when we do discuss strengths and also weaknesses. The runtime is really comparable to that new trash Modern Warfare 3 game that just came out. The only difference is one's a fully priced game and the other one is a single DLC. But I think a good starting point is that if you played Dead Island 2 and enjoyed it, you'll enjoy this DLC to an extent. The best way to put this is that it is more Dead Island 2 and you should go in with that same expectation. For this DLC, they give you some new tools and options to kill zombies in, of course, super brutal and gory ways. I mean, the original base game of Dead Island 2 was built off of that foundation, satisfying gore with a focus on the infected and zombies, and that continues here as you would expect. It's an expansion. It builds onto the game, and that continues throughout House. Compelling storytelling was never Dead Island 2 or games like its strongest suit, and if you're a member in the community, this isn't news to you. But in terms of gameplay, there are 8 new skill cards, ranging from enhancing kick abilities to increasing Fury mode power. One in particular triggers explosions when your Fury mode is full, but it also ranges to more quality of life abilities as well, such as medkits giving you more health. One thing worth mentioning is that my save, it's 100% complete save. So I've done all the missions, all the side quests, I have the stupid overpowered weapons, and I partly won't get the most out of the new goodies introduced in this DLC because of that. So in this weird way, I was kind of punished for going above and beyond in the base game when it comes to these new tools. I can't really go back to the base game and enjoy it simply because I did everything that game had to offer.
Why are you the way that you are?
Now, I won't go ahead and spoiler major plot points, but House is the first part of the expansion pass, and it has us diving into a new story about a dark and gritty death cult that's based in Malibu. The journey begins when you receive a mysterious invitation in the backyard of Emma's house in Bel Air. Once picked up, you can now begin and head to Malibu, and it does look incredible here. I hope it's a location that we can revisit in the future. Oh, what's this? We're going in the house? Oh, we're going even deeper in the house. Oh, we're now going way into the depths of hell. I guess we're still technically in Malibu. Oh my god, that's a crazy death cult. Okay. So as you progress through House, you'll run into the Cult, which is an elitist group that dedicated their lives to Constantine, an AI created by Comrade, that billionaire genius that you met in the base game. Remember this girl that wants you to embrace infection and also Fury mode, wants you to become Newman? The story basically helps further along that plot while tying together some pieces from the main story, while simultaneously also tackling on new events and asking new questions. There's a lot going on here.
You're basically going around House in the entire DLC with this particular mindset.
Am I scared of a stupid computer? Please, the computer should be scared of me.
Like I said, there's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts, and it will leave you with asking a lot of questions.
And because of that, it never really goes fully in depth as much as I would have liked to have seen in a story sense, especially with this DLC having an average runtime of about 3 hours. You can see how problematic it would be when it comes to certain things such as fleshing out themes and certain story beats. There simply just isn't enough time. Now, that 3-hour runtime could be up your alley if you're stingent on time or something you are completely against. I totally understand both perspectives here. I think the DLC could have benefited from an extra hour or two to really flesh things out. The DLC mainly sets up for more questions to be expanded on in future content. It's just a matter of when and also how they're gonna do it. We simply don't know right now. It could very much happen in part 2 of the expansion pass, which which we do know is coming sometime in 2024, in the early half of 2024 to say the least. I do want to stress that during this DLC, you will absolutely run into crazy shenanigans that fit the overall vibe and mood that Dead Island 2 is trying to convey. Bollywood movie level writing that isn't taking itself too seriously. Its main focus is always going to be on gameplay, and they do switch it up a bit here, a little bit, and I'll tell you how. For example, the puzzles in House go above and beyond the silly jerry cans that were everywhere in the base game. I mean, don't get me wrong, in House, jerry cans are still very much here, but they do switch it up a little bit.
I am dead inside.
I was quite surprised at how often I was doing puzzles in this DLC and did enjoy it. The incorporation of both Fury mode and puzzles was a breath of fresh air. I think one of my favorite parts of this DLC were those Fury emitters. So at a certain point in the story, these towers that charge up your Fury mode appear, and then you're free to go and wreak havoc as you please. Like I said originally in the beginning, Fury is taking on a much bigger role here. It seems that's the direction this franchise is going. It'll be more important over time. Only bad thing about these emitters is that they're introduced super late into the DLC, so not a lot of time is spent with them. I do also want to mention that House will have you running into some new zombie types and also 2 new bosses. I criticized the final boss of the main game heavily because as someone who was the highest level, overpowered, we wiped this dude from existence right in front of his daughter. In this DLC, granted I was playing single player, he did put up more of a fight and wasn't erased almost immediately.
As I did have early access to this DLC, I played the entire thing through single player. Optional co-op does exist. You and up to 2 extra buddies could play this together. When I played the original base game of Dead Island 2, my friend and I played the entire thing from start to finish, so 0 to 100%, and it overall contributed to a more positive experience for me. I think games like this, if you have the friends to play it with, it will add to the fun and enjoyment, and the same applies here with House. It's arguably part of the charm of Dead Island 2.
When it came to my time during House, I was simply just taking my time with it, enjoying the new weapons, enjoying the DLC for what it was. My expectations going into this DLC was that it was going to be more Dead Island 2, and that's exactly what it was.
When it comes to future content, I worry that Dead Island 2 may lose its charm if it doesn't start doing more exciting things on the story front. Like, audiences and players can only take so much setup before they're burnt out. We need to start seeing a pretty big change here in the next project. Gore, brutal combat can only take it so far.
I simply wish it lasted longer. It's now complete, and I'm quite content with it. But yeah, those are my general first impression thoughts about House. A full, proper, in-depth review may come later down the road. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching.
And if anything of what I said today is interesting to you, feel free to use the link down below in the description to check out both Dead Island 2 and also House.
Thank you so much to PlayOn for sponsoring this video and for also providing the game key. And with all that said, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.